Hello, we are live. And Shannon, so great to see your comment here in the chat. Yeah, it's wonderful to have you here because we have a special pair of muses today. Thanks for that, Shannon. We'll wait for a few people to arrive. Mike was just broadcasting his awesome buddy piece for Inktober today. It was so cool to see that he found the same moving, inspiring, beautiful reference image that I found on the Sktchy app as well. Hello, Hilda. Today is a different time for me because of the whole winter, summertime thing. So this is actually it's like an hour earlier because we shifted time today. Thank you, Sktchy, for having me here. It's always a pleasure. Hi, Nikira. Cool. I just saw that you were on Mike's live stream and jumped over here. That's great. So maybe a few more people will just jump over from Mike to here. Hello, Silesh. So nice to have you here. Dean, hello. Yeah, it's Inktober. It's like almost finished so far into it. Day 25. Hello, Rosie. Nice to have you here. Rosie was such a wonderful Inktober muse for the chef prompt. That was awesome. Shot in the dark video in cold Alberta. It was pretty warm here the last couple of days, even though it's heading towards winter. Hey, Ensim and Polly, Henry, cool. Yeah. So Henry, you've got like 2 live streams going up, and it's transitioning into this one. That's pretty cool. Artida Mariano, nice to have you here, and Alison. Awesome. So nice that you could be here, that you are here, and for those watching afterwards, that you're tuning in later. Thumbs up, of course. Yeah, it's wonderful to have you here, and we have a really cool inspiration photo today. So maybe you've already seen it. I'll just bring it up here. So we have two muses, and this is Benny, the macaw, and Mona, Shannon's wife. So thank you very much to all 3 of you. Shannon for sharing the photo, and it's just, yeah, such a wonderful image. And yeah, and just I asked Shannon if there's something that Mona and Shannon would like to say, and just that they wish everyone good health and happiness. So that's for everyone, whether you're here or not. Good health and happiness to you. I'll bring up my workspace. I'm going to be working with some ink that I just mixed, and I haven't used it yet because this ink jar was running low. And so this has been my acorn and avocado ink jar, and it was a little bit of avocado and a lot of acorn, and now I've just put some avocado ink into it. I use this to move my inks around, and I just kind of top this up a bit with avocado ink, so maybe now it's going to be a bit redder rather than black, but maybe it's still going to be really dark. We shall see. I'm working on the back side of a sheet of heavyweight watercolor paper, and so I'm super curious. This is really smooth, whereas the other side is really coarse. For those of you who are interested, it's this Hahnemühle watercolor paper, and it's like super heavyweight. You can see down the bottom there. And I was looking around, and I've been using so much paper throughout Inktober and so much going on recently, and I thought I'd use the back side of one of my sketches. So I'm super curious to see how the back side of the paper is going to take the ink. That should be fun. So I hope there's some other happy inkers here. Oh, there's my beard. If I get too close to the camera to read what you're saying, you can see my beard. Can't find any nibs. Polly, if you can't find any nibs, you could just cut some. But I don't know, does anyone else have nib recommendations? I bought a whole bunch from an art store that was shutting down years ago, and I have not needed to buy any since. So if anyone has any tips for buying nibs from Polly, other than cut your own, because then you can just turn sticks into drawing implements. Jane is here, grabbing a tea. Excellent. So, yeah, unfortunately, I don't have any useful tips for purchasing nibs, but I would recommend trying out cutting your own. It's very different, of course, but it's something that I love, making my own art supplies. So let's start drawing. I wonder, do I want to do like am I going to use this at all? So I would tend to use the metal nib if I'm going to start with some fine details, but sometimes it's also good just to jump into the stick pen. But maybe I'll go with the nib. I have it here. We're talking about nibs. Let's start drawing with a nib. Yeah, there have been so many amazing Inktober pieces happening recently. It's so nice to see what people are drawing, and from the Inktober Portrait Challenge, how people are interpreting the prompts. Cool, Polly, you already have some stick nibs, that's great. So I'm wondering here, this kind of the point where our two muses meet is a very interesting place to start, I guess. So just start with Benny's eye. And just kind of build out from there. It was so cool that Mike used the same inspiration image that I had in my Inktober Portrait Challenge tutorial, which I just thought was such a wonderful, beautiful, moving image. So check my Instagram, or maybe you just saw what Mike did. It's such a nice image to work from. Just so lovely. From the Sktchy username, "Love is my passion." I just felt like so much love was in that image. It was so special. And I tagged the photographer and filmmaker. The context that was taken, and there must have been a video shoot, and someone grabbed a still shot, and it's just so lovely. This fine nib is really cool for these feathery details around the eyes. These really fine lines here. See these big, thick areas where that stick pen would be really perfect. So maybe I'll just kind of leave some space for that. Okay, that's a cool question. Do I sandpaper my sticks? I do not. I think I have my pen and my knife in my pocket. I have, so just a little sidetrack, an Opinel number 8 knife, and it's a carbon knife, so it's not stainless. You can sharpen it amazingly sharp, and I use this. There's in the Sktchy art school, there's a video up where I show how to sharpen and cut your own pens. And I get this knife so sharp that I don't need to do any additional sanding or anything. Something you could definitely do, but no, I don't use sandpaper. There's actually a live stream, or a couple of live streams where I cut. You can see that in the YouTube library, or the Ink Naturally playlist, where at the beginning of the live stream I cut a pen. One was the very first one I ever did. I can't remember which one was the second one. But if you look through, you'll find them on YouTube as well, where you can just see the process of cutting your own pen. And if you have a really sharp knife, you don't need to do any additional sanding or anything. Thank you for asking. Ah, cool. Yeah, so that's so great. I contributed towards the Lifebook Taster sessions, which just closed this week, I think, where we did an avocado ink drawing session, and I shared some avocado ink making, and we drew some avocado seedlings together. So it's lovely that you're here through Lifebook, I guess. That's awesome. Oh, and thank you very much, Sktchy, for this reminder. Pretty amazing offer at the moment to get 80% off a second class, right? BOGO 80. So yeah, if you haven't already, sign up for Ink Naturally and grab another class and get 80% off. Awesome. Macaws. So apparently Benny the macaw talks all the time. Super smart, amazing bird. I used to have a big print of this amazing macaw painting when I was like end of high school. My dad was a photographer, and then also did like picture framing and sold limited edition prints, and had this really amazing painting of a macaw in my room. Macaws are pretty cool. Just wondering about my proportions here. I put this line, I was like, oh, wait a minute. Just double check on this, and I think I was like too far. It's going to turn into a very big lower beak. And yeah, feathers are great. You can, I always like this thing of like just a bit of implied detail, like, and we don't have the resolution here that you really get lost in all of those individual hairs. What's that called? Maybe someone here knows. What are the individual hairs on a feather called? But just that getting that feathered edge and implying some detail there, I think is really nice. It's a good opportunity just to do that thing of like implying detail, just putting a bit of texture in there. And now these crazy hard bird tongues. All right, and now the intersection where it meets the glasses. We love drawing glasses. Karen, I do have a new class, or let's say the next installment of the Ink Naturally class, and I'll be talking with Jordan about it after this live stream. So there will be some news on that coming very soon. Thank you that you're interested. I'm looking forward to sharing more with you. So yeah, I like drawing glasses because you have these really cool, clear, hard. If you've been here before, you probably heard me saying this. I think most of the people I draw are wearing glasses. I did some little portraits recently for an illustration job, and I realized that out of 12 little heads that I drew, I had 9 of them wearing glasses. So I wonder if before I wore glasses, if I had such an inclination towards drawing glasses. That would be kind of interesting to go back in time and see if that was the case. So yeah, the cool thing about drawing glasses is that you have these really clear, and even if you don't get them perfectly accurate, like some people will have a hard time drawing straight lines. I just had a bit of a wobble here, doesn't matter. But you have these really clear, hard, like straight man-made or woman-made shape that has been, engineered and designed, and it's just these hard shapes are just such a clear contrast to draw. The softness of a face and all these round, curved, lovely kind of soft forms that we have within the face. I think the frames of glasses is just such a cool. It has such a contrast and quality as opposed to that softness, which makes it interesting. So how, for all the Inktober participants and fans here, how has everyone been going with Inktober? I'm really hoping, if you've been following my Instagram feed, you'll see that I've fallen off the wagon and not been able to keep up. I've had other things going on. Holly had her second birthday on Thursday, which was lovely. And this afternoon we had the birthday party. So Holly's now 2. So Holly's birthday and finishing some commissions. Always feels good to finish things. And now that I've got a couple of things finished, I hope I can jump back in and, before the month finishes, wrap up my Inktober pieces, because I really enjoyed drawing along to Vin and Arto's classes. Shannon's close to staying up to date. That's excellent. The last 30 Faces 30 days I managed to keep up. That was during our summer holiday, so I kind of was able to take the time to draw every day. That was cool. I could go over and keep drawing the second lens and the rest of the face, but this area has just kind of, grabbed my attention at the moment. I think it's so fun, the way the bird, Benny, is holding Mona's glasses. So cool. And speaking of cool, fun interactions with animals, I went to a lake with my 3 kids yesterday, and on the way home we were cycling past someone's garden, and an icon, the big one, who was like, "Oh, there's a hedgehog," and we stopped and watched this hedgehog for a while, and I thought it would hide, and it totally came over to us. It came through the garden fence, stood between us, sniffed all of our feet, and was really curious and unafraid. And that was the first time I or my kids had been that close to a hedgehog. So that we spent like half an hour together, and it was just so cool. So it's lovely, being close to animals, and whether they are domestic or wild but friendly, wild and unfriendly. I think any kind of animal encounter is a pretty special thing. I think this is interesting at the moment that if I had done this with a stick pen, I would have a lot more heavy kind of line weight, and this is still feeling very light at the moment, which is nice. Just interesting for myself, this observation. And I don't know how well you can see it, but the color of the ink, it's like a really dark reddish brown, which is cool. It's avocado and acorn ink mixed together. Acorn and iron, so the iron adds this nice, is an amazing modifier which makes a lot of inks much darker. Reacts really nicely to the tannin in the acorns. I've been collecting a lot of acorns the last couple of weeks. So many here this autumn, which is great. I need to stock up because last year I ran out of acorn ink. When we were at the lake yesterday, I found a slow bush, or Schlien in German, and it had so many berries. So that will definitely be something that will be coming up soon. SLOE, slow. Last year we made some slow gin, just by I think we cooked it. Kira made it, cooked it with some sugar, and then mixed it together and just let it sit for a long time with gin and Schlien fire. So special. Hello, Cindy. The drawing comes fast. At least one image behind. Oh, is that Inktober? It just comes so fast. It's hard. It's a challenge to keep up with the daily rhythm. So Polly's been getting some tips for nibs, and I guess just the way this drawing is just expanding out here is fun. Setting up areas like this, you know, this little shadow here. It's, yeah, let's just, or I'm going to keep this light towards, and at the end, maybe either with a brush or with the broad edge pen, I'm going to come in and maybe put down some more dark areas, get the contrast. Because at the moment I just think it's really interesting that it's there's so little contrast. So this will be an interesting thing to look at and think about and talk together. The mouth, like jumping over to the mouth from here with this upturned perspective, can sometimes be really tricky to kind of get our head around how to draw these things. So let's see how I go. So the way I will be doing it is just by looking at what I've drawn already. And I see from the outside edge of this eye, if I were to like drop a line straight down on the reference image, like it's almost meeting up with the corner of the mouth. And it's close enough to the corner of the mouth that I could do that here, but then I need to find, all right, where am I going to drop that line from here? Oh, I'm seeing the corner of the mouth is also meeting up with the bottom of the ear. So it might be a bit safer to draw the ear first, because like that has an alignment to the bottom of the beak. So that's going to help us find our way to the mouth, maybe. If we observe well where everything is, I think that could really help us find where to put that bottom corner of the mouth. Ah, Jane, cool. Getting out of the comfort zone. Such a good thing to do. So if you're just going for it like I am, then I applaud you and wish you all the best. Have fun. Yeah, so I'm glad I made that observation at the bottom of the ear, because I was just about to like jump down and put down the corner of the mouth somewhere, which may have been all right, but it's gonna help. And maybe even drawing some more of Benny is gonna give a sense of that negative shape between Benny's neck and Mona's ear. So just kind of, you know, constructing it as we go to draw certain areas which are going to help with other shapes, I think it's an interesting way to go about it. So the top of the ear is like at this corner of the glasses, and if we drop down from where the beak meets the neck, it's about here. So let's just say this is where the top of the ear is. And you can do that like at every step of the way, always finding things that line up with other things, whether it's vertically or horizontally, or sometimes you even have a particular curve that you can follow, like if you extend a curve to find where to make your mark. And it's kind of like a puzzle. Like the more you get done of a puzzle, the more you can see the bigger picture and the way things fit together. But I think that early phase where you're just kind of floating around and you don't know how things fit together yet, I think that's like a really exciting part of the drawing. And then as you get further and further and piece things together, you start to see how it's taking shape. And I'm just looking at this, like the big shadow shape in the ear, the way it's kind of lining up with the nose approximately. Like a bit, if we drop that down a bit. This is something you can do when your reference is right next to your drawing, but also when you're observing something, you can also use these this kind of measuring as you go. Oh, that's awesome. That I'm glad that it's helped. That direct drawing, I think it's such a good thing to practice, and for me, it has been very liberating in my drawing process. Yeah, and I'm glad that I've been able to share it, and that has been helpful for others too. All right. So this is kind of about it for the ear, which is roughly giving me this an indication of this corner of the mouth. It's kind of approximate, and it's amazing when you're working on a face how millimeters can make such a difference to getting the likeness or not. And we don't have to get too hung up on getting the likeness, but sometimes it's nice, isn't it? But if you're ever doing, something where you really, there are certain situations where it's like, oh, I really want to get a likeness. And I've found this kind of direct drawing and looking this way has also helped me. Sometimes it looks like I've made a new person, but over time, this kind of practice has really helped me get closer and closer to a likeness, I think. So we drop down from the outside edge of that nostril and kind of mimic the angle that we have here of the glasses and the eye, and just kind of compare that. And there's this one in that middle part of the mouth, there's this one darker line, and then it gets thinner. So I'm just kind of finding whereabouts does that go to. I think it's about here. So this thicker line, and then it like thins out a bit. And getting that subtle variation in the thickness of the line can be really cool. And looking at the outside corner of the mouth and how what is kind of lining up with the other nostril. Kind of about midway between the, I don't know what the terms are for nose anatomy, this fleshy part of the nose between the hole and the outside. It's kind of like midway between that. But it's kind of going that far, and if we're kind of checking this, got this angle thing going on here. It's kind of leading us over here. That looks all right. This is interesting, I think, compared to a lot of drawings that I choose to do where there's a lot of like strong shadow on the face. This doesn't have a lot of that, and so it's interesting to keep it really light. But even though there's not really strong shadow, there's still a lot of shapes and a lot of subtleties where we can start to see these differentiations. And even if we don't draw it, to then use it as a guide, just to recognize different kind of tonal areas and see how we can use them to help us find our way around. There's just so much to look at. There's a lot going on in here. And that just is so helpful for finding our way around the drawing. So does anyone here have a favorite prompt or favorite piece that they've done from the Inktober challenge? I know some of them have been a real delight to work on. Just checking what people have been saying. That's a really cool idea. I've printed stuff out black and white, and it's something I tend to do anyway. Like I set it to print in black and white, and I reduce the contrast so I don't use too much ink when I'm printing. And it really, or even on your phone, if you switch something to black and white, it helps so much. And I think that fits in nicely to what I just said about recognizing these subtle shifts in tonal value, like this area around, oh, this is like super overexposed. And this is simplifying it, like compared to what you see up there. There are these different areas. Yeah, this is not really showing it like, but you can see in the reference there will be subtle shapes. And if you do print it or switch it over, just in your Photos app or whatever, to black and white, it totally simplifies that that value structure and can be really helpful to see. So that's a cool idea. That permanence question, that it varies greatly. It's not. I'm not sure I can answer that question at the moment. What makes Indian ink permanent? I'm not sure. Yeah, but this kind of, it's still water soluble. Although I have had, I've done a lot of pieces where I layer it up, and it's still, especially with the acorn ink, and maybe it's the iron in it and vinegar that's like a mordant, so it really binds it to the paper in a way that's different to the avocado ink. So there's maybe more water soluble because it doesn't have that iron and vinegar element to it. So that could be. Cool, thank you for answering that question, Shanna. Stina, nice to have you here, however brief. It's just wonderful to know that you're out there, whatever you're doing. I'm always amazed, you're like cooking, take care of the kids, drawing, doing all sorts of things at the same time. It's amazing. And the nib that I'm using, I don't know, some metal nib that maybe had a number on it, but I don't know. It's a number something, but it's just like a fine metal nib. It's pointy. Jane, the piece you did for radio was so cool, and I love that because I remember your line work version, and then was it like 2 weeks later you did your color version? Oh, it was so cool. That was awesome. Coral, yeah, that's one I've got to catch up on. Yeah, Tavish, cool. I love that bulky one as well, and it's so cool. There's something I love about these sketchy challenges is that people choose prompts and images that I think if I was like scrolling through Sktchy looking at photos, I wouldn't have stopped. I would have like gone past that. But then doing that with Artul's guidance, I also found that a super enjoyable one to do. It was and his technique with the pipette and stuff, it was so cool. So yeah, that was a good one. I like that too. Yeah, that's cool. I'm glad, Stina, that you've liked the 3 different takes on inking. And it's like looking beyond the sketchy Inktober portrait challenge. Like occasionally I've looked into the infinite amount of work that's being done with all different prompts and or the same official prompts, but then with totally different takes on it, and just seeing all this Inktober work that people are doing, it's always so kind of mind blowing, how so many people use ink. It's so awesome to see. Oh, that's great, Debbie. I'm glad you're learning so much and enjoying it. And Melissa's been using natural inks. Awesome. Me too. Yeah, so that's interesting here. Sktchy is looking for new teachers. So if you have something you'd like to share and want to engage with the Sktchy community in a new way, and it is just an awesome community. I've had the Sktchy app for 5 or 6 years, I think, and participated in a few 30 Faces, 30 Days, and then as a featured artist this year for the first time, and it's just such a cool way to interact with people and to share our passion, and it's just a lovely way to connect. There we go. We've got like 20 minutes left. Maybe time for another eye after I do some more hair. This is so different than what I did last week, and you know, just as much fun. Last week I had an animal too. That snake. Where is it? Somewhere else. That was also super fun. Super fun hair. It's kind of grown here, very big. It's so cool. Just kind of find my way around these shapes here. I think I'm just looking at the eye, that the hairline is actually like meeting up with the eye, and I had drawn it up here without really finding my place around. Yeah, so It's more like here than up there. And that's this thing with like tilting the head up, these kind of proportions that you that maybe you take for granted if you're used to drawing a frontal portrait, and when the forehead just becomes like this little, just a little line, it's something that it's a good challenge to like really check on what you're drawing. So if you're late, maybe that's because of the change in time. I think next week we'll have to check when it's changing in the States as well, because this for me is an hour earlier, so maybe normally you would have been early. Mahasvetaful. But yeah, there's been a time change thing. So I think, I don't know, you would just have to check. I think different continents and countries change their the summertime stuff in different ways. So it could be that next week it's at a different, I guess is it going to stay at this time? No, it might change again. Because I started at 6 o'clock my time, where it's usually 7. And maybe next week it will be 7 for me again. We'll see. Sorry that you're late, but you can watch the recording and still drawing, so still here. Aha, and Andy, yeah, so daylight savings. Nice to have you here, Andy. Nice to have all of you here. It's wonderful that you're here. Oh, Shannon, you applied to teach. Awesome. Cool. Would it be possible to have like a teaching tattoo art on Sktchy? That'd be interesting. Something I've often wondered about, but I don't know. How would my skill set translate to tattoos? I don't know. So I'm excited to see what new class content will come of Sktchy's call for teachers. It'll be interesting. It's yeah, I've loved it. It's been super cool. So if you're wondering, just try it out. Oh, there's a lot of ink on there. Just flicked it up on Benny's face. I didn't tap off the tip of the pen on the inside of the jar. I'm just reading some questions here. So if you've got one to ask, you can ask now. Although with the time lag thing, I'm not really sure how that works out. Yuka just came through. Awesome. I thought that was great, Yuka, with your piece of Rick for Dig, that you said those that the Tuesday drawing sessions helped you to do some to be able to fit your portrait drawing into the family filled weekend. It's great when we can switch up our expectations. I think maybe that's been my thing. This Inktober with the portrait challenge, I haven't managed to keep up because I've wanted to kind of keep up the same. I don't know, what am I even saying? I guess I wanted to watch the videos and draw along to the videos, and I was not able to every day. But I guess I could have just done the old 30-second drawing trick, and then I'd catch up real fast. If anyone wants to come and do some 30-second portraits with us on Tuesday, then please do. It's always lots of fun. Up to 6 minutes, not always 30 seconds. But we start off with 30 seconds, which is super awesome practice. And kind of challenging and fun. Once again, using the shape and size of the glasses as orientation. It's great to see, okay, where is the eye within the frame? And that can kind of help. And sometimes when I'm just, I don't know, not thinking and just drawing, sometimes I'll make or a common mistake that I make is making the eyes kind of the wrong size. And with glasses, you can kind of look, it's like, okay, so like over here, I feel like it's about a third of the width of the lens is where the eye stops and kind of arcs back down on this side. And just kind of seeing that as a negative space and thinking, okay, it's about a third of the way into the lens. That can be really helpful. So once again, using the glasses as a tool to see where I want to draw different parts of the face, especially the eyes in this case. Super helpful orientation. Oh, it's interesting how the iris is turned so far into the eye with this one. The background of this image, this is a crop. So yeah, the inspiration image is up there. There's a link at the bottom, and it's really colorful, looks amazing. It's all blurry, but it just looks like a really fun background. And all these little, if I were working in color, like these highlights and the lenses, all these little reflections of light and stuff, that looks so cool. And I guess it's nice, yeah, with the green of the bird, the green and red, and this is red in the background, it's kind of greenish light, some cool color play. Hilda, yes, indeed, it will have new content. Yeah, a few things will be new. There'll be new content, and it will be following along in this style of drawing a portrait from start to finish. From the wealth of amazing photos on the Sktchy app, with some new inks. Yes, there'll be some new stuff. And I'm glad you love watching me draw. That's nice. Nice to be able to share nice things with people. Here we go. Endorsement of coming to draw on Tuesdays. Come and draw with us. Jamila. Did you miss anything? Did you just come late too? It was a daylight savings thing. I love you too. That's lovely. And here's a bit of randomness after. Are you a bot? No. What is that randomness? Maybe a macaw walking on the keyboard. It seems to be working out pretty well time-wise for getting this all drawn like this. And I wonder, we want to just like wash in some darkness in the hair, or should we leave it like this? Should this stay like pure line, or should we put some more contrast into it? If you've never just left something as a line drawing and always get into paint, maybe it's an interesting thing just to leave it. Yeah, everyone is so supportive and encouraging in the Sktchy community, and it's for me it's been such a playground of experimentation and I guess just the feeling of being safe to try things out. And there've been so many cool things, and people just uploading all this amazing reference, and just the sharing, drawing each other. And when I was, if you're experimenting with a new medium or whatever, it just feels like such a safe place to play. And if you have experience doing commission artwork and illustration, it doesn't always feel like a safe place to play. And Sktchy, in contrast to that, is just so free, supportive, and encouraging. It's really wonderful. In the pros and cons of 2020, Sktchy's definitely been a positive. That's great. Yeah, there's been a lot of Sktchy in my life this year. It's been awesome. Thank you, Sktchy. And thank you to the whole community. Sometimes I uploaded a couple of inspiration photos recently, and I've had super long stretches where I don't even think about it. I don't generally take a lot of selfies. Spend more time looking at other people. But there are just so many amazing muses. If anyone has any special requests for things that I should do and photograph myself doing it and upload it to Sktchy, I'll think about doing requests. Because I think some of the muses, like, Rick is amazing. It's just like uploading all this stuff. Janelle, there's so many people who are doing so much creative musing and modeling. It's just so amazing. But I also like that sometimes, in my case, it's like the occasional thing where I'm like, oh, this light is interesting, or this is interesting, this rock is interesting, to get a shot of that. Just kind of the spontaneity of it. Yeah, see you on Tuesday, Cindy. I know what you mean by being exhausted after 2 hours of full-on timed drawing. Polly, and anyone else who wants to know, the jawline is tricky, isn't it, Hilda? I've just pretty much left it out. If you follow me on Instagram, I'm noticing a bit of a skew. There's a few things going on over here. It's like, but oh well, whatever. If you follow me on Instagram, or follow the link that I have anywhere in my bio, I have this Linktree thing, and it will say Tuesday drawing, and it's 7:30 German time. So for those of you in North America, I think it'll be, compared to the usual time that we meet, there's going to be an hour's difference. It'll be like an hour later. But just check up on the German time, worldclock.com or something. Yeah, so you follow that link and we draw together for 2 hours. And it will be lovely to have any of you there, all of you. You could all come. And we go around face to face, choosing, I go through the list of people and bring you up, and we use Zoom and draw each other. And sometimes we've been using the Inktober prompts or just telling stories, anecdotes from our week to each other to inspire a pose. So it's also a very entertaining, social evening, as well as amazing drawing practice. And it's always wonderful to see the crossover, to see people here who come on Tuesday. And right, we're nearly finished, and no one answered the thing about contrast, I think. So I just kind of kept drawing. I guess the eyes and the nose. What's going to be the thing in the next 4 minutes that's like, oh yeah, that was so worth doing? So I don't want to, the jawline is tricky, as Hilda mentioned. So I've kind of left it, but some more implication of that, I guess, could be helpful. That'd be something that'd be very easy to do with an ink wash. I'm not going to get into vertical hatching now because there's too much to do in the time left, but maybe just darkening the eyes. And the way we look at things, areas of high contrast and high detail attract our attention. And so you can really kind of steer the way people perceive your work and the things that they choose to look at by the things that you choose to give attention to, whether it be high contrast or in terms of detail. The difference between the iris and the pupil is pretty minor here, so I'm just going to fill this in. And the nostrils. I'll get mine for the last couple of minutes, just get this big fat pen. There's a couple of things, you can scratch in all these lines with a fine nib, but these big broad-edged pens are really good for flooding small areas with ink. Shannon, I'm glad you've enjoyed the line work. Cool, Jane. It'd be awesome to see you again on a Tuesday. People are dropping out and have to go. Thanks for being here, Stina. And anyone else, if you want to upload your work and use you can use the hashtag InkNaturally or Inktober Portrait Challenge. Tag me, because I always love seeing your work. And that's a good way for me to see it. It's been kind of an overload during Inktober, but I make an effort to look through. If I'm not able to leave a comment every time, I'm still loving seeing your work. It's just inspiring and awesome to be creating together, and to see so many people putting in so much work. And growing and learning so much, and just doing a whole bunch of awesome drawings and paintings and stuff. It's so cool. Children would be good. Should we do some drawings of children? Yeah, Cindy. Lessons in Drawing Children. Cool. Thanks. That's a good idea. Melissa, Tuesday is my thing, so it's open to anyone, and it's pay what you want, and the idea of that is whatever situation people are in, wherever they live, whatever the economic climate, that people can just come and draw together. So it's open to everyone, and it would be great. Come along, bring your friends. Hi, Holly. Oh, look, time's up, and my little one has come to fetch me. Polly, am I rocking a man bun? Yeah, kind of. It's like bald at the front and long hair at the back. Hello. Hello, Holly. That's it. I'm being called to go. H. Pesson. You can find the link to this image below this video and then continue the drawing. Yes, thank you, Jane, for answering that. Glad you love the color of the ink. It's like avocado ink with a little bit of acorn ink in it, which you can make yourself. That's great. Thank you to all of you for being here. You can hit the thumbs up if you liked it. Come back next time. Post, tag, share your work, and take care of each other, take care of yourself, and enjoy the rest of Inktober. Come and draw with us on Tuesday, and see you on the internet. Awesome. It's been lovely drawing with you all. And thank you very much to Shannon, Mona, and Benny for our wonderful inspiration image. And yeah, this was a lot of fun, and I hope you all had fun too. Peggy, see you Tuesday. Yes, I'm being shouted for. See you soon. See you soon. Have a wonderful week.